Okay everyone, this is the very last video. So this is about weaving in the ends, and I've decided I'd just make a separate video just because it might be easier for people that want to finish and find it or to revisit it later. So when we look at our, here's two places where the yarn comes together, and again we have 6 to 8 inches of extra yarn here. I want to weave this in. Now what I decide what is the front of the scarf and what is the back of the scarf. You can kind of see that there's a difference here where this comes together. So I prefer this to be the front of my scarf and this to be the back of the scarf there. And we're going to weave it in so you can hardly see it either way, but there might be a little bit of an imperfection, so you'd rather that be on the back side of the fabric. So one thing let's notice, on your garter stitch, there are loops, and these are all the loops you made going back and forth. And if you look at the loops, there are two different types of loops, particularly on these ridges. Some of the loops come up and over, so they're an over curve. Some are an under curve. Yeah, those are two dance terms that we like, over and under curve. Yeah, so we can call it, that's an eyebrow, that's a smile. Sometimes that's fun to do with kids to learn knitting, so when you teach it. Yeah, so what I'm going to do, this is a yarn needle, so you'll need that. You'll need some kind of needle that has a big enough eye that you can thread through, and this one you can see is pretty dull, so I don't have to worry about poking myself with it. All right, what I'm going to do now is take this yarn and I put it through, this is the smile, and underneath it is an eyebrow. So I do the smile to the eyebrow and I pull that through. And now I'm going to follow this little smile, go through this next eyebrow next to it, and then go back up to the previous stitch I just came through. So I can weave that in at that place there. I'm now going to keep following this over to the next one, but each time I come back to the stitch I was in before. So I'm just simply weaving this. I pull it in. I don't want it too tight, but I want it to disappear. And you can see already it's starting to do that. Yeah, over and through. And I'm just doing a kind of easy little zigzag back and forth. It is doubling the yarn in those loops, but twice the yarn is not enough to really see it, so it does, and because it's the same color, it disappears. Great. And I just keep going. Most people say you only need about 2 inches through the fabric, and you can see how this has made this a little thicker, but it does disappear and it doesn't disrupt that fabric. So at this point here, I can now take a scissors, I can clip it, I clip it kind of close. If I pull it just a little bit, you see it now, that thread has disappeared, and that is weaving in the ends. I'm now going to do it with this yellow thread up here, and again I'll go through a couple, and then I'll just start going back and forth in a zigzag following that pattern, and this yellow one will disappear. I've got a few to finish and then I'll be done. So here's one more quick video clip so that you can see with a contrasting color how to do this. So imagine that this is one of the tails, and I'm just going to follow the U on the top, come back into this one I have here, follow the U on the bottom, and go back. So I'm just doing a simple zigzag, follow the U on top, come back into the one next to where I was before, into the new one, back into the old one, and you'll see with this contrasting color that this makes a simple zigzag back and forth. And if this were the same color, it would disappear. But even with a contrasting color, it blends in pretty easily. So again, following, zigzagging back and forth, always going into the new one and then back into the old stitch loop before. And finally, you now see that I've woven in all of my ends. Once the ends were woven in, I just snip them, give a little pull. I go through my scarf, find all the little tails, give them a snip, let them blend. There's 3 more yellow ones. And now you see there's a nice complete scarf. Oh, one more. And all done. And this is now ready to be given as a gift.